to Beyond the Ring, a podcast that covers all things in the stock show industry from the informative to the insane, starring Ryan Rash.
Once upon a time, the hardest decision we had to make was to choose our favorite color in a crayon box.
And Dale Hummel.
I live in my own little world, but it's okay. They know me here.
Now on with the show.
Welcome to Beyond the Ring. This is Dale Hummel, along with Ryan Rash.
Hello, hello, hello. And by the way, you left out the star, Ryan Rash, but that's fine. It's whatever. Fine.
I did forget that.
The abuse I get on this podcast.
Where are you at tonight, Ryan? Where are you?
Reno, Nevada, the biggest little city in America.
Staying at the Golden Nugget Hotel.
No. It is not the Golden Nugget. It is the Nugget. Period.
The Nugget.
You can get me kicked out of this hotel because I said it wrong when I checked in, and they were real quick to inform me this was not the Golden Nugget. This was the Nugget.
And it is older than the hills.
I don't remember who the Godfather was, but like in 1920, yeah, they have it renovated. But it's Daddy James's favorite hotel in the world.
I don't think I would do well there.
Daddy James, literally, we like the first year Cherie and Daddy James dated, we had to come here for New Year's Eve, and he knew everybody by name. And so, yeah, it's Daddy James's favorite hotel ever because all the Reno Hereford shows used to be held here, like at the actual hotel.
I can understand that. So there's some sentimental value.
Oh, the most.
And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know what I'm tired of?
Oh, I don't even think I want to know.
You do.
Uh-huh.
Race baiting by our politicians, the politicizing of COVID, the path our country's taking under the current administration.
COVID doesn't even exist, bitch.
Oh, yeah. When it's time for gathering the votes of the minority, it does.
Lord.
And then
We ain't heard nothing about COVID in like 3 months, and now you gonna say I don't even know what to think about you.
Well, I'm taking a personal stand on it. My wife and I discussed this yesterday briefly, and I implemented it yesterday afternoon. Today, I'm not wearing a mask anywhere I go.
This is the man that used to not go out without full hazmat gear.
Correct. I am fully vaccinated. I'm not endangering anybody else by being out there without a mask. I am not telling people to get vaccinated by any means. I hope it continues to be a personal choice, and I'm perfectly fine if they vaccinate. I don't care. It doesn't matter. I don't know the right direction, but I do believe it'd be senseless when our president goes outside with a mask on and social distancing and tries to tell people this is patriotic. What about when we kneel for the national anthem or all the other crap that's going on that's very disrespectful to the flag? That's not being unpatriotic, but being patriotic is wear a mask. I'm out.
Then you do not need to be in the state of Nevada because you thought they were mask happy in the Las Vegas of it all. Oh, no. These Reno people are way worse.
Seriously.
Oh, hell yes. And like all the people that are enforcing it hate it, but they make like you take a sip of your drink and you put your mask back on or they don't serve you no more. It's Rick.
It's interesting here. I think
there's only 4 people in this hotel anyway, so I don't know why they worried.
I get it. So when I go into Walmart, nobody's making me put a mask on.
And of the 4, other than me, they all on walkers, just let me tell you.
Target asked me to put a mask on. I declined, and then guess what they ask you to do?
Get out.
That is correct, and I happily left. I think they're a little bit tree hugger anyway. I'm okay with that.
I love the Target.
Walmarts do not make me put a mask on. They just
You know what Walmart needs to do?
What's that?
Do you know how Walmart could make even more money than they make right now?
They're doing pretty well.
No, but I'm telling you, they could make even more money. If they put an observation deck with a bar up above everything, these people could make the most money.
You know what? That would be the best place to take a date. Little people watching.
I wouldn't ever go to a show. I would not go anywhere besides the Walmart.
My wife
I would travel to different ones in the country.
Oh,
if
that would be
good. If they put an observation deck with a bar.
When did you come up with this?
It's a gift. What can I tell you?
I think that's the best idea you've ever had.
It's a gift.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Did you see? You probably didn't. Maybe I'm the only one that caught this. I noticed. I think it was on. I'm sure it was on Fox News. There was an example of a college student in a Zoom class with his professor, and he somehow, I don't know what topic they're on, but he talks about a police officer being his hero or a hero. And the professor goes off on him.
He got kicked out.
She goes off on him. They've got all this recorded on Zoom. So they go back and forth. He comes across very intelligent, very well spoken. She does not.
Of course,
But
everyone that Dale agrees with comes across intelligent and well spoken, and everyone Dale does not agree with does not. So
yes,
just let y'all
of
know.
course. I mean,
I'm with
I
you.
live in this one world. It just is what it is. So his ending of this conversation was he poses the question to her: if you were in trouble or your life was in danger or you're about to be harmed, would you call the police? She says, absolutely not. That would put me into more danger. I believe she's lying to begin with, but when you take it to that level, that is ignorance beyond belief. And this is a professor. College students are paying tuition to be exposed to this ignorance. Explain this to me.
I would not. I would demand my money back.
I'm with you. And I've got to be careful. I was in this academia for 20 years. I taught for over 20 years. And I can promise you I did not have liberal views, but I can also assure you I was in the minority of that group. But not all teachers
I think
are
you've
that
taught
way.
in that state that you still live in, right?
I have.
Well, there you go. Now we know why.
Thank you.
I'm just saying.
Thank you. Well, I about forgot something else that I'm tired of. I am tired of these notifications popping up on my phone every time I leave the state of Illinois. Any state I go to, they want to contract trace me, and I can't even figure out how to shut the damn
Then
thing
you
off.
do not need to be the gay, because I get them at least 3 times a day.
What do people really sign up for that?
Who knows? Probably those whack jobs do, but yeah, not me.
I'm out. Out.
You were talking about cops and all this other stuff. Did you see the video on Twitter of the lady that, like, she gets pulled over and the cop walks up and she's like, "You're a murderer, you're a racist," all this other stuff. She doesn't have her license. She doesn't have an ID, any of this other stuff. She demands him to call his supervisor. He comes, and the reason, and she's like, "I was going 38 and a 40. He's like, "Yes, ma'am, but you were on your phone. That's why I pulled you over. I was videoing you because you were going to kill me. You're threatening to kill me." I mean, this bitch was crazy.
This is the crazy crap that I'm done. I am done with it. It's over. I can't deal with it. I can't believe the police have to deal with it. This world has gone overboard. This country is not on a good path.
No, I cannot believe that more police people have not just said, "I'm the F out."
Oh, I think they are. I think the ones that aren't just is because they haven't found another alternative yet.
I would think private security's got to be going up and up.
Oh,
and up
you would think it'd be going through the roof. My daughter Tara and I had the opportunity to judge a show in
Pig
Wisconsin.
Royalty. They had private security on the last episode of Pig Royalty, so there you go.
We're going to turn back another direction. You were talking about these people being pulled over, being afraid of the police. I was 15 miles from Minneapolis, downtown Minneapolis, this weekend. And I unfortunately did not get back to the hotel in time that I could go and check on the destruction that took place
because you were
there.
arguing with Tara too much and you were too slow.
That
If
is
you'd have just
possible.
listened to Tara, you would have been fine.
We'd have been done, and I could have got back there.
And you could have gone to George Floyd's site.
I could have. Now, speaking of that, I did bring up in the Grand Drive speech Initiative 16. Imagine that. Just imagine that. But what was encouraging to me after the show, I at the backdrop particularly, and Ryan loves the backdrop.
No, I do not. But I have scared some folks because the last 2 weeks, nobody says shit to the gay at the backdrop. Nobody smiles, nobody laughs, nobody does. So I'm fine with
silent.
it. Mm-hmm.
So I have them discussing. It's many people, not necessarily that were getting the pictures taken, but just people there at the show. There were several that came up and said that they appreciated bringing that up, but there were more people conscious of it in the ag community than maybe I was aware of, and I think that's great. That's a good starting place.
Very good.
Very good. What about Biden's joint address? It's been a while back, but we haven't recorded.
This is where I have to gripe at you. You had to have the damn border episode of Beyond the Circus, and if we would have just waited, we would have had to talk about the border. We could have talked
one day. We could have waited one day.
It could have taken. It still could take 3
Careful
Beyond the Circus podcasts to deal with that nonsense that idiot tried to get out of his mouth.
I agree.
And all these people coming at me on Facebook for putting up quotes that he said during it, and they go to the transcripts and it's not what it is. Okay, I know that's not what he was supposed to say, but that is what came out of his mouth, people.
Yeah, the transcripts don't match what comes out of his mouth.
The point of the Facebook post. People, like, I hate it when dumb people come for me.
Hint the chance of cognitive issues.
The most.
Yeah, it's bad.
I
So
just-
tax,
I just-
tax, spend, sums it up. Done. I'm over.
The 2 points that I need to bring up about this is because I truly don't think anybody that listens to this podcast voted for this man, but he is lying.
No, I think we lost those long ago, I think.
He is lying. There is no way the top whatever percent of whatever is going to pay for all this shit he wants. And the 86 billion in audits that he's going to perform. Was that the right number? 86 billion?
80 billion.
80 billion.
Extra, an addition.
In audits. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the one thing that I need people to know. The amount of money that he could make off the audits that make up the 80 billion, those people are going to have lawyers that are way smarter than the people that work for the government. So it's not going to work out.
There's so many things that aren't going to work out. I don't know. We talked about this last time, but when we hit a certain tax rate.
No, we didn't, because that man had not spoken yet.
Well, no, but I predicted this. I don't remember which episode, either Beyond the Circus or Beyond the Ring. When we go to a certain tax rate, history shows us all we have to do. We can go back as far in history as you want. When you tax to a certain level, revenue will go down. So he's lost his mind. It's so simple to me. Let's stay at a level of taxes that generates the most dollars for the government, helps the small business, helps everybody grow. But no.
Okay, I'm going to say something that's really unpopular on here, and I don't care because y'all know I give zero whatevers. The best and most productive Democratic president, probably since Kennedy, which, that didn't last long, but was Bill Clinton. He was the one that gave the famous speech, "The era of big government is over." No, I know the man could not keep his trousers up, but he was not a bad president. Morally corrupt, but he was not a bad president. And this man said the end of big government was over. And Biden is literally, I just will.
How about Camel Toe?
I got to move.
Talk to me about Camel Toe.
Oh, she hasn't had a press conference in like 41 days.
Do you know what she's doing next month?
What?
Going to Mexico and South America to work out how many tax dollars.
Well, maybe she will have a press conference then.
No, she's going to determine how much of our tax dollars need to be sent to the South. And this is controlled primarily by the cartel and corrupt politicians. If anybody thinks that those dollars we send to Central America and Mexico are going to get down to the people that truly need it, you've lost your mind. It is going to line the pockets of those corrupt politicians, the drug cartel. It is the biggest waste of taxpayer dollars we could possibly come up with. And they found a lot of waste area. They're targeting a lot of good areas, but this may take the top. Zero chance that money is going to get to where it needs to go.
I don't know what's worse, him or her. I do not know what's worse. I honestly do not. I still think she probably would not be as bad because that woman would care about getting reelected. This man knows there's no chance.
I don't
Zero.
think I don't know that he knows anything. I don't know if he thinks about that. Okay. Facebook and Trump. They said no.
No, just stop, sir. So Facebook reviewed Trump getting banned today. They had some kind of council or whatever, and they upheld his ban, and they have to look at it again over the next 6 months. But they did say that Facebook violated its own rules and that he could not be banned indefinitely. So if you say you violated your own rules and you can't be banned him indefinitely, then why are we waiting another 6 months? Is this just going to be every 6 months we're going to take it up and go, oh, needs a little longer?
And I think we're citing public safety is what we're citing. The reason he's not allowed on. I give up on that one. I completely give up. So what's Trump's fight back, or what is he doing to help the cause here?
The day before the Facebook case came out or whatever, Trump launched his From the Desk of Donald J. Trump, which if you are a Trump fan, Trump supporter, you just want to know what the hell he's thinking, you can go on his website and follow him. And it's basically like a cross of Twitter and Facebook that all the things that he puts out are on there. Right now, you can't like, comment, or do anything like that. But I think they just got this out there right now, and they're still working because they also are still saying that there is going to be a whole social media platform launched by Trump. But right now, the way he's getting his stuff out there is you go to the website From the Desk of Donald J. Trump, you follow it, and you can get everything he says, and he posts a lot.
He's loading it up.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything that was of concern for public safety that you saw?
I didn't really pay that much attention because I love everything Trump, so I didn't think there was a safety concern.
You thought it was fine.
I am a little concerned about this whole Trump DeSantis thing is really getting hot and heavy, and why I love Mr. DeSantis, and he just, signed legislation saying that COVID passports aren't going to be allowed to keep people from doing stuff in Florida. All great things. And I love him. Do not get me wrong. I think he needs a woman as the vice president. I really, really do. I really think he needs a woman.
That's not going to, right now.
I know, but he didn't listen to me last time. I told him to get rid of Pence, pick Nikki Haley, pick somebody, and he didn't. I really think he needs to listen to me. Please listen.
Do you hear anything was there any issues at the Kentucky Derby?
Oh, yeah. Your people, the McCluskeys, they have a new hero.
Good.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So there was some kind of Black Lives Matter protest, and some old man just pulled out a pistol and starts waving at people.
Well, they obviously got in his face or something. He's not going to just pull out the pistol for no reason.
Okay, Dale.
No, that doesn't work that way.
And of course, the McCluskeys have deemed this man an American hero. The McCluskeys and Dale Hummel.
Yeah, those McCluskeys, those are good people.
I know you love
those
them
are
the
good
most.
people. They have every right in the world to do everything they've done and more. I would have been okay.
Think they should have shot people.
If they were on their property, I'm okay with maybe taking out a kneecap.
Uh-huh.
I'm okay with it.
There you go.
Yeah, that would fix it. That would fix
completely
the
rational.
Fix the issues. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about a town in Eastern Oregon that is declared. The mayor has declared a state of emergency.
Oh.
And the reason she's done this is to try to
stop the legislation that they have like Colorado?
Yeah. No, not the initiative. All about COVID. So and she comes out and she's very clear on this. The lockdowns are hurting people more than the virus, period. And she's right. And I'm not trying to...
Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out.
So the mayor's standing up for the citizens. The resolution is spreading from this small town to other small towns, particularly Eastern Oregon is apparently a little more conservative, I believe. So in the big picture, they're talking about, well, if all businesses just come back and open at the same time, there's no way they can enforce these laws and Oregon citizens can take back their power. I think everybody needs to take back their own power, and this is too much. It's gone too long. I'm not saying the situation might not change and we might have to do something, but right now, in the state that we're in terms of COVID, it's done. It's over. We need to move on, let people make their own choices. If they want to stay inside, they can. If they want to wear a mask, they can. If they want to get vaccinated, they can. Let people make their own decision. They all have enough information to make an educated choice.
So you said all this, but what is happening?
She right now, that town is open. Now I don't know if they're going to send it to the national
to other places, or is it just this one little town?
No. They say there's several towns following that lead, and I'm guessing in Eastern Oregon it will continue, and they'll probably get away with it. But I doubt that you could be a suburb of Portland and get away with it. Is my guess.
Probably not. Is Portland still a part of Oregon? I thought maybe they
yeah, I don't know.
Seceded from the Union or something by now.
I the other day I tried to push Chicago into the lake. I made an effort.
Oh, you did?
Yep, I did.
How'd that work out?
It didn't get it done.
How is your girlfriend Beetlejuice?
I have not seen or heard from Beetlejuice much, but I do have to go to the airport in Chicago. I do have to travel through there, and it's a challenge.
And this is not really relevant, but Beetlejuice and Cuomo, they were the big COVID Rona heroes of the world, and now you hear nothing.
They disappeared. Now that Cuomo's in trouble, we don't hear anything.
They are gone.
They're gone. I have one more issue, and I know we're going along.
Oh.
Jobs. Everywhere I look, now hiring, apply within. This is total mismanagement of funds. We're paying people via unemployment $400 in addition to the regular unemployment, which puts a lot of them over what they were making. They are not going back to work. There's no reason for them to go back to work. You know what? I almost don't even blame them for not going back to work when the government has a policy in place that they're going to make more money staying home. Small businesses are struggling. Restaurants are struggling. And it used to be an unemployment. And I don't understand it that well, but you'd actually have to at least pretend like you're going out and list businesses you're trying to get employment with. Now all you have to say is, I'm afraid of COVID. And it just gets extended. You don't have to go even try to look for a job. You just keep getting the money.
Well, that's because Biden likes spending it.
Oh, he's the best at it. Do you have any more current events?
He's real good at that. No, I do want to say that, like, Caitlyn Jenner, who, again, she's running for governor. Don't know when. She may be running I guess she's running in the recall. But I thought it was interesting that she came out with a stance, even though she has transitioned from being a man into being a woman. She does not think that trans girls who were boys at one time should be allowed to play in girl athletics. And she is getting way more hate mail than the gay, but I applaud her. I mean, I believe she's right.
I'm not even surprised by it. I think she understands that as well as, or better than anybody.
Well, she should understand it better than anybody. She's an Olympian, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I was
simple.
impressed.
No, I mean, that's pushing more conservative than what a lot of would have thought.
Oh, the most.
Interesting to me.
Mhm.
Very, very interesting. I am ready to approach the main topic if you are, Ryan.
Yes, of course.
And this is the best because we can just take it any direction we want.
I know.
We can circle back. Do we have some circle back? Is this when we do circle back?
I'm not sure, but I will say this is Dale's topic, the first one since April of last year. So it's taken him a little over a year to come up with the topic, but I like it.
Come on.
And it was very good, and I'm very proud of you. Good job, Dale.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Took you a year.
Our topic this week, and again, it's more of a title that who knows what direction we're going to go. Once Upon a Time.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, what do you think about Once Upon a Time in our industry?
Once upon a time in the livestock show industry. So this can go a lot of ways, but I'm going to give you just the nuts and the bolts and the general thing of it all. For me,
okay,
is once upon a time, there's a lot of shit that's changed. And the livestock, the showmanship level, the feeding, the fitting, the products, I think for the most part, even the shows and show management, all of that has greatly, greatly improved. All of that.
No, I think that's
some more than others.
Yeah, but I think across the board,
right,
easily improved.
But
all those
easily improved.
areas.
Let me tell you, once upon a time, what has not improved.
What is that?
We the people has not improved.
We the people.
And it just baffles me because the easiest thing for all of us to improve is our attitude. And it literally, it's the worst part. And it was so much better once upon a time.
It was probably better once. Speaking of attitude, I want to key on that, and then I'll go back to some of the other things I was thinking of. Ryan, how often do you get that look when you pull somebody in that thinks maybe they should be a little higher?
Oh, at least once a show.
That's about where I'm at. And I'm saying that sometimes there's none, but sometimes there might be two or three. But once a show is pretty accurate, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't think it matters how you align them. You're still going to find one. You just are.
Oh, yeah.
And this, I had this weekend, and it just sticks in my mind. And I'm thinking, you're giving this kind of attitude in the middle of the ring in front of everybody that I can visibly notice, and you're likely to come back in. That doesn't work very well, Ryan.
Well, probably if you would have listened to Tara, that child would have been moved up higher, and then that person would have been angry.
I actually think this was one that Tara had actually suggested we pull in at that point. So nope, I can't push it off.
You're
on Tara.
Throwing your own daughter under the damn bus. You are a terrible father.
I agreed.
See, we
with
the
her.
people, you are not better. So
I agreed with her in that decision.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking about that, Tara and I discussed some different things on the way home, and just in general, when the judge is out there, and Ryan and I have touched on this before, but I tell you what. Depending on who you speak to in the audience, you're going to get a lot of different reviews and a lot of different things. But there's going to be somebody in the audience, no matter what you're doing, that thinks you're maybe talking too long. Maybe you're not describing them enough.
That's
maybe
a
you're going too
whole nother
slow.
topic,
You're
sir.
going too fast. Yeah, we'll go to another topic, but it just amazes me. Absolutely amazing. So we can make a whole topic out of that. That'll be a fun one.
No, you get that at least once a show, and it from a showman, which is a little more discouraging. But like, what is different for me than other people is because the way my brain works, I can't look at the animals while I'm talking to them. So I look at
This is exactly where I wanted to go next. You got this.
And so I know you people on the outside don't know that I can do this, but I'm pretty intuitive, and so
he was born with it. He didn't teach himself. It just happens.
So I can tell way more than if you're angry or happy or giddy. Like, I can tell when yours is coming up. And so, like, if you start giving me that defensive body language, I'm going to walk straight to you and look you in the eye and tell you what is wrong
in
with
the
your
bleachers,
animal.
Grandpa in the bleachers.
And then these people are like, why is he doing that? Because I know that one that I'm talking right there, sir, is yours, and you're not happy. So I want you to know that I'm telling you to your face, looking in your eye, why that one's standing third, fourth, fifth. They do not like that.
Oh, you're right. You can read it. I don't think I could probably read it near as well as what you do, but it is. I have watched Ryan do this on occasion, and I enjoy it so much. It is great entertainment.
I enjoy it so much.
No, but, I'm there.
But like seriously, back when I was a small child showing, talking about We the People not being better and the easiest thing, and this is going to be a lot more than this, but like not everybody got along.
You are not going to pretend to be nice here.
No, not everybody got along, and not everybody is ever going to get along. You're in a competitive situation. There's tension. There's money. There's all these things going on. But I'm telling you, not too long ago, people, if you didn't get along with somebody, you just walked down a damn different aisle.
Done.
Instead of walking by that person and muttering bitch under your breath or something. I mean, like...
Or maybe going to social media.
Right. And I will say, I think social media has definitely encouraged this because we can all be a keyboard warrior. But a couple of weeks ago, I was at a jackpot show. We're going to take pictures after the breeding gilts, and two men like literally got into it right there ringside and had to be pulled apart. No, there's no, I don't care who said what to who. If you've got to flex your masculinity and do that, take it outside the barn, people. Don't do it right there at the ring. And this is stupid and it's simple, but I'm going to say it. There used to be a time, once upon a time, that no matter, I was not the most popular bitch in the barn. I'll be real honest. A lot of people didn't like me.
Maybe the least popular.
Probably. But no matter who won, people clapped.
Correct.
They may not have screamed, yelled, jumped up and down, or whatever. They still clapped and acknowledged that person had done something and done it well. Except, that doesn't happen anymore. And I don't understand these things because, again, we've improved all this other stuff. The stuff that's hard to get better. And the easiest thing of all has gotten dramatically worse.
And you will get them to clap for some people.
Yeah, your show teams clap for each other.
There you go.
I'm not saying nobody claps for anybody, but yeah, I'm talking about almost everyone in the stands. You didn't have to... Every single class, I ask people to clap for those kids. Every single class. They don't do it. I still ask. It didn't matter if it was a jackpot show or a major show. People used to clap without having to ask people when somebody won something, whether it was a breed or overall. They clapped. Why can we not? And the best way to think about this is someday that's going to be your kid that wins something. And you would want those people to clap for your kid. So put your damn hands together and clap for that kid, whether you like their daddy or not.
Amen. You know what's the most refreshing for me and gets me excited about judging shows is when you find that one county show
arguing
or that
with
one
Tara?
Jackpot show. No. When you go and I can't even use an example of where, but on occasion you'll end up at that one show and it's almost like it was caught in time, and you do get those families clapping. The show team or the parents clapping when you pull that individual in, but then at the end of the class, the majority of the people clapping and supporting it. I can't tell you that gives me a good feeling. It puts me in a really good mood to be out there and working that show. It's wonderful and it's simple. And Ryan's dead on here. We have gone backwards there, period.
People won't understand this about me, but like I feed off the crowd and the kids' energy always. And so Dale talking about that. It's in places that you never would think would have this energy and this enthusiasm for every game. Polk County, Florida, Napa Valley, California, those Iowa showdowns, things like that. That, like, it doesn't matter if there's 6 out of 6, those people just cheer and scream and are excited for those. And, like, that just makes everybody want to be better.
It does.
Including me.
It takes the energy level up. The kids enjoy it more. Everybody does. And Ryan, you've always talked about loving the showdowns. That's why you love them.
Yes.
That's exactly it.
And I mean,
and I commend those in Iowa for that. Let's as a industry, we have a lot of people listening right now. Let's make a point that
some
next show you go
too
to,
much, too many.
let's clap. I don't care if you know the person or not. Let's get behind them. And I listened to Ryan and others ask for applause at the end, and most of the time you get a little bit, but not much, and sometimes none. Let's change that. Let's be better. I'm going to try to be better. I will try to do it.
That's the whole thing of all the things that have improved in this industry and made drastic improvements to mild improvement. It doesn't matter. The one thing that is the easiest for all of us to improve is our attitude and our gratefulness and our thankfulness for being involved in this industry that we all love so much, but you damn sure couldn't tell by our attitudes.
No, and if we can do this, it takes everything to another level. It's exciting. It's fun. It just increases all the positive that we're getting out of this industry. I like it.
That was my general soapbox statement. Sorry.
I like it. And I'm gonna take it back, and obviously the show ring's evolved, and we've talked about the history of the show ring, but we've evolved from breeders having a place to present their genetics to other purebred and commercial breeders, and oftentimes a sale follows, and that goes back into the mid 1900s and carried through probably the little bit later into the 70s, maybe even into the 80s a little bit. But we've definitely transitioned somewhere probably in the 80s, and each species did it sooner or later. But we've really evolved into what we call a junior show. We're focusing on the junior exhibitor, and we're focusing on the experience they have. And when we, the people, we, the exhibitors, we, those in the stock show industry, aren't willing to get excited and get that energy level up the shows, that's not a good start. So I'm gonna condense this down pretty much from the time we really swung from maybe what I call open shows. And not that there still aren't open shows, and they're great, and it's all good, especially on the cattle side of things. And some of our frame sheep still have the Louisville big open show. They still exist. I'm not trying to pretend they don't, but there is no question our stock show industry has migrated into focusing on the junior exhibitor and using that as a educational tool for such. So
this has been, I'm telling you, I can remember when I was showing, I was one of the first junior exhibitors to ever show in an open show. Not that I was the first junior to own animals in an open show, but they always had adults show them. And I was like, screw that. It's my cow. I'm going to do it. And I mean, I know that I ain't shown it a little bit, but this is recent. And it is only the last 10 years, it has just become, there are more juniors out in an open show ring than ever before. So then there are adults. So that goes directly to your point, Dale.
And that was totally flipped. Do you know approximately when that flipped? I think it was probably late 80s, early 90s. I don't know. Maybe later.
I remember I was in high school, the late 90s, and I'm telling you, I was one of the very first
So it would have been later
to show my cattle in an open show. And like people thought that I was on something.
I mean, I can remember open shows where there'd be large classes and there was not one junior out there, period. Yeah. And then it started to, I mean, the change happened. It's interesting. It really is. I think we've developed this into a great tool, and it's changed a lot of things around what's going on. I think we've got a little bit of a change in our judges pool. Would you agree with that, Ryan?
Oh yeah, it's definitely different. You're going to get me on another house.
We've already talked about the political issues.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I go back, and I'm just going to the 80s, I would say 80s, maybe even 90s, we probably, and again, I'm not saying right, wrong, and different. I'm just trying to state what I remember, and maybe it's incorrect. But I think we had more college-related judging coaches, animal science professors, more of those doing a little sorting, maybe some of the established breeders, and we've made a change to a lot younger judges, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, obviously. But it appears, and I'm going to go down a path here that it's going to step on a few toes, but I think we do have people entering the ring. Let's look at this for an example. If I go out and judge the American Royal Goat Show, that's probably not a very good idea considering how that affects my financial well-being.
This is a whole nother topic that I want to bring up that you don't. So anyway, but Next.
And we can make that another topic. But the dynamic of the judges, no question, has changed, and I'm a little concerned sometimes that they're too close. Now, does that mean we need to go find some judge that has nothing to do with that species and knows nothing about it? No. But we can go way, way too close to somebody within that industry that it's just not possible to get out there and sort them without some level of bias.
I'm not going to disagree with you at all. I think for what you're saying, yes, I think judges have changed and stuff like that, but I still think, and I'm not talking about that these people are not capable, but they still rotate the same small circle of people over and over and over and over and over again. And those people that get rotated for the most part are very capable and qualified and should get to sort. And that's why they are, because the judging pool is so shallow in a lot of ways. And people do not want to talk about that, but it is. And that's why those certain people get major show after major show after major show. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just going to say it. And again, this is going to offend people and make people mad. And I really don't care.
I hope you get some hate mail over it.
Once upon a time, you could not have a substance abuse problem and judge a show.
And once upon a time, you couldn't even you wouldn't be at a show ring as a breeder or somebody else stumbling around.
I'm not talking about hearsay or rumors. That's not what I'm talking about, because I have been called everything but a white woman and a child of God. So I am not talking about hearsay or rumor. I'm talking about documented, factual substance abuse problems.
I think what we need to look at is, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm outdated. Maybe I'm looking at this totally different. But to me, if you're going to put somebody out there in one of these positions, and you can't expect the show managers that are hiring to know everything, but I think that we could do a better job as an industry of putting people out there that are a good example for the youth that we're bringing into the ring. The best example that we can put out. And I'm going to say the majority of them we have out there sorting shows are very good examples, but we run into them on occasion that it just is a very bad idea. Why put somebody up on a pedestal if you don't want your child to be like them? How's that?
Again, I'm not saying this isn't in large part, but it's still there and needs to be addressed. And the hypocrisy that I find in the fact that there is a group of people, and some of them are high up, that don't think that I need a sort of major show because I had a steer that had a drug in it, but they're going to let people in the ring on drugs.
I think it's difficult for
that hypocrisy is a lot for me to take.
I don't know that those doing the hiring are as aware of everything as what you would be.
This is documented, Dale.
No, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that I don't know. I couldn't even tell you who's doing all the hiring at shows, but sometimes they're
and I'm not talking about the people that hire. I'm talking about there is a group of faction of people that do not think I need to judge any show because I had an animal that had a drug in it, but they don't care about the people that actually use drugs. That hypocrisy is a little much.
That is not a good place to be. What about, you mentioned one other thing. I don't remember what you call it. You called it a show team. I kind of call it show camps. Same thing, I assume. That when we talk about show camps or show teams, if you're in that little team and somebody pulls in first, you're going to clap and get applause. And in theory, that's maybe subconsciously weighing on the judge's mind. Would you agree with that, Ryan?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I'm not saying it's going to change the world, but
no,
it's going that direction.
Yeah.
Some of the show teams and show camps have grown. I don't remember the number, but in some of our species, they're taking up a large percentage, a higher percent of the animals being exhibited than it ever has been in the past. And when we approach that level, there's a lot of impact they can have on the direction that show goes, from weights, from type, from that applause, from all of those things. And I'm not saying it's bad, because when you watch from a distance, and I'll go to a show and I'll work with 3 or 4 families or whoever wants any help that has purchased our genetics, I'm more than happy to help them. I don't know if you call it a show team or show camp, but I'm going to give them whatever guidance, as much or as little as they would like. And I understand that. And I think there's a lot of good to come from it. Even these big show camps or show teams, they're obviously giving guidance and wanting things done a certain way. And that's great for those families and those junior exhibitors to learn. But it's taken on its own dynamic where it's gotten so large in some situations. I don't know how it's going to impact the big picture. Do you have any insight on that one, Ryan?
I do see your point that there are, I'm just going to be honest, I think it affects the small animal species more than it does the cattle. But yeah, I get what you're saying, that there are show teams so large, or that a group of individuals has their hand in so many that go to those big shows, that they can influence things like weight breaks and stuff like that, just because they have a say in so many number of animals. But again, from a show manager's perspective, there's nothing you can do about that.
No, and I don't think it's necessarily bad, because anytime you have somebody with that experience level guiding families and guiding the youth, whether they're intentionally sitting down and explaining things to them or not, just the fact that they're having them do things A, B, C, D, they're learning more about it. So I'm not saying good, bad, and different. I just think it's going to change the dynamic of that. Oh no,
it's already changed the dynamic, and it's going to continue. And you know, I found it so funny that when the Pig Royalty reality show first came out, they're like, "Oh my God, we don't have show teams in this state. There are show teams in every state of the union, people. Now let's just get it real. No, they may not all wear the same clothes like these two little pig teams in Texas do, but every daddy that has on the same hoodie, same ball cap, same underwear with the same brand on it, etc., that's a show team, folks, whether they call them themselves or not." And so, yeah, it has changed the dynamic, and it has changed how the game is played and stuff like that. And again, I think a lot of it has made it better, because just like you said, obviously these people are not getting mass numbers of families to come to them by being an idiot.
No, I think there's a following, and I think it almost highlights or emphasizes the fact that there's a lot of families out there searching for information. They want to understand better how to feed, how to fit, all of those things. So, I mean, it's filling a gap that if there wasn't a demand for it, it wouldn't be happening. It just the only point I want to bring up is it's just different than maybe where it was before.
No, it's definitely different.
So there's something. Once upon a time, Ryan, once upon a time, we did not have as much manipulation of the unethical practices of altering an animal. Just like in humans, we're manipulating a human body via breast implants, booty implants, I believe we talked about maybe on here in the current events. We're doing some things that are changing the physical appearance of the animal that would not be considered ethical or legal in most shows. And I'm not saying things like this didn't happen long ago. Just like the competition has gotten better, the livestock have gotten better, the people doing this have more tools in the toolbox, and they're becoming more experienced. They're getting better and better at it, to a point where some of these animals are looking more like cartoon characters you draw than what a real animal can look like. With that said, if breeders don't understand that the more artificial manipulation is involved, the less value is going to be placed on quality genetics. This is so simple, yet I'm puzzled how so many just don't see it as clearly. I don't get it.
No, I mean, everything you said is very factual. I think that there is more of that on every level than there ever has been before, because just as you stated, there's more development, there has been more technology, and like, I know nobody's going to hear this, but there's more ways to get around things.
There is. There's been more thought put into it.
Going back to my personal story, no one else was ever raked across the headlines like I was, because obviously it wasn't a good thing to do. And I will say again, why I don't want that to happen to any other child ever. There's also a level that if they don't know that people are getting kicked out, they're going to be more brazen and brazen. Now, even if this would have never happened to me, I cannot say, well, you need to tell that XYZ got disqualified, yada, 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 so that will put the fear of God in people for next year. I can't support that. But also, I think that is a big reason why the unethical practices have grown because there's not any
It's a
fear.
bad situation because you
It's a
don't.
catch-22.
It is. And without the deterrent of making those things public, it just continues. If you throw a junior under a bus and the media picks up on it, similar to what they did in Ryan's case, that's a terrible situation for that junior that, depending on how old they are and how involved they are, they may have no idea of what's going on whatsoever. And I want to put in there, if we go all the way back, once upon a time, Ryan, to episode 2. Do you remember episode 2?
Mm-hmm, Matt Clays.
Matt Clays. We have some people in charge of drug testing at some of our shows that simply are not educated enough to do it, and they need to reach out for some guidance, because there is a need for what we call quantitative analysis. Because when we have a very simple positive or negative test, and there's background interference, there's environmental factors at the show, there's all those things. In this zero tolerance, we need to redefine. I have zero tolerance for any unethical practices or drugs that are not approved. But I don't think that zero tolerance means do run a negative or a positive test. And if 1 part per trillion pops up that has no performance enhancing impact on that animal whatsoever, that animal does not need to be disqualified. And some of our officials just don't understand that. There's one more point, Ryan, that we have a situation, you kind of touched on it. We have a group of show managers, maybe even you could say parents or people guiding youth in this industry, and some families. Now, I'm talking about a very, very small number. They are so brazen, they just don't care if they get caught. And that's a problem. When there is no fear and they don't hold back any tools in that toolbox, do you want to know how difficult it is for that kid that's out there busting their butt? They buy good genetics. They're on the track. They're on the treadmill, whatever species, around the clock, doing everything right. It is very difficult for them to get around maybe an average one that has been enhanced to the level that some of these are going to. And that pisses me off.
I realize we've talked about this a lot. And just like in any industry, there are going to be people that will do anything and everything to win at all costs. I'm just going to say that percentage of the people in our population is minute, but also that percentage of people, Dale, in my personal opinion, I don't care if we had listed every kid that got kicked out of every show, whatever, and those names were up there. I don't think that small, minute percent of people, that's going to face
No,
them.
you're right. You're
you.
absolutely right. I don't think there's not a deterrent in the world that's going to change a few of those. And that's just,
and I mean, that's how small it is, but
Yeah.
it would not
and
matter.
we're not talking about very many, but you're right. Now there's some that deterrent's going to keep things in check.
No, I think the majority that are willing to push the line, that if they thought that would happen, whatever. But again, it's a catch-22 because you cannot do that to a child, especially now with social media. I can't even imagine what my situation would have been like
Oh, it just
with social media. So there's no way to do that to a child, but we've also got to work on something to make them more fearful.
And you know what? I'm going to circle back to the very beginning of this main topic.
Okay, Biden, press secretary.
Okay, so you brought out that we are better. The livestock are better. The showmanship's better. The management and feeding and exercise is better.
Products, technology, it's all
everything's better.
We the people,
except
not better.
And guess what we just spent 10
the
minutes
people.
talking about?
Hey, all goes back to what I said. I told you I could have summed this up in 5 minutes. And
Well, people want to listen when they're driving down the road. They want to kill some time.
I'm not saying, but I'm just telling you, it all goes back to the fact we all need to do better. It doesn't matter if it is an ethical fitting. It does not matter if it is our attitude. It does not matter if it's supporting people that we don't even know when they win something. It doesn't matter if it is even when someone has wronged you. And I promise you, I know that stuff happens. Being the bigger person and just letting it go and not having that altercation or that social media moment, all of those things that should be the easiest for us to improve on. Those are the things that we're lacking. And just like, in other episodes, we talked about how politics and judging are more rampant. We all have to do better in every single way that we're talking about in every part of this industry. but it is we, the people, that have to do better.
Absolutely. And you know what, Ryan? I'm guilty. I need to do better because of that level of competition that's within me. I do not take getting beat well, and it eats at me. I will do my best to not show it, but I need to do better, and just it is what it is. And there's every one of us can do better in some area. Period. We just can.
The best thing that I ever did, and it has changed the whole way that I look at almost every part of this industry, was just taking a break and not selling and placing animals anymore. It's only been like 3 years.
But it gives you a different perspective.
But I'm telling you, I cannot explain I think I'm very eloquent and very good with words, and I can't put into words how much that alone has changed my perspective on so many things.
I would agree completely.
And I'm not saying that I'm not ever going to do it again. But if I do it again, I hope that I will take the change of perspective that has come within me and apply that to if I do go back to doing that again. And that would be my hope for me.
I like it. I like the fact that on our title here, and you guys wouldn't understand this, but Ryan and I don't discuss a lot about what we're going to talk about. And sometimes a title
because he only came up with one topic in a year.
Ryan will come up with a title, and I think, well, I kind of understand it. But we may be going two totally different directions. But I think maybe some of the best ones, Ryan, are when we just throw a title out there and we go whatever direction that rabbit hole wants to go, or whatever direction we feel it needs to go, and it's good.
And you will get no hate mail in the rabbit hole, and they'll be slinging darts at this bitch. But
we hope we hope that is the case. We don't want to increase that pattern of hate mail coming my direction, and it's no good.
Right? We hope don't send Dale hate mail,
and
please.
If you do, let's hope you're not a friend, and it goes to the spam box that doesn't exist.
Right? Yes. Send all the hate mail to the gays so Dale can feel better.
Well, on a positive note, Ryan, the fact that you talked about getting that energy level up and gave some examples of shows that are doing that. As a show manager, as people at that local show or a show you're going to, if you're going to the show, you're supporting the show. Make it your show. Own that. Let's clap. Let's get excited. I like going to other countries, whether it be the Royal Highland show in Scotland, the Palermo show in Argentina, wherever it may be, because that excitement level is overwhelming. The crowd that's there, all those things. We have that in pockets here in the U.S. Let's take it out of the pockets and make it the norm. Let's elevate. We can do this. It's not hard.
You got to get me into that Palermo thing, because I just think that I would be amazing there.
You would absolutely love it.
But I can't, talking about that or whatever. I think one of the biggest oxymorons in this whole industry is, again, through social media. My favorite thing to see now, and especially at big shows, is somebody that doesn't win, but they'll put a picture or whatever. Crowd favorite. Well, I would like to know how the hell anybody knows who the crowd favorite is, because nobody claps anymore.
No, we got to start clapping.
So how did you gauge that yours was the crowd favorite?
If we get this done, we can determine the crowd favorite better.
I mean, you could. Yep. But right now, when they put crowd favorite up there is nothing to back that up. People.
I love it.
Nothing.
I love it. Ryan, this was good. Do you have anything else before we move on to your favorite segment?
I just sincerely hope that, again, we've made so many improvements. Easiest thing to do is improve your attitude. Easiest thing. And I promise, if we just all tried just a little bit, I think it would just be this tidal wave tsunami type of thing that it could change a great deal.
Let's snowball it. We get 2 or 3, 4 or 5 people at one of the smaller shows to start clapping and getting excited. It's going to spread. It's going to be contagious. It's going to happen. I'm excited about that. It's good. Really, really, really good. I will do better. I pledge to do better, Brian.
I will pledge to keep yelling at people to clap every time.
You just keep on going. Keep on going. Question and answer time. If you're ready.
Yes, sure.
Amy would like to know. She has a question for goat and sheep showmanship. My child has a finger injury that they hide well. The injury does change their hand hold position to create a leverage needed to obtain a brace or a drive. As a judge, how important is hand hold placement And is there a correct hand hold? Is the hand hold position more important than it is getting that lamb or goat to drive? That's a hard one.
I do not think the handhold placement is more important than getting the lamb to drive.
No.
Or goat to drive. I do not believe that at all. And I'll be, again, I can just go from my experience. Other than when I'm in showmanship, I'm really not looking at hand placement. Now, what I look at more in terms of hand placement is that offhand in goats, specifically when they're walking. I've seen the last couple of shows, like a bunch of kids are holding it up, like close to that offhand, that free hand, up to their chest in this fist position. And I told them at the show in Kansas, I said, I think it looks more natural if you'll have that offhand down by your waist or down by your side, because when you've got it clenched up in this fist and it's like right there under your chin, it looks like you're ready to fight somebody, Popeye. And so, like, I think, so that is when I look at hand placement more than I do when they brace. And so that wouldn't matter at all, because that would be your offhand and when you're leading. So I think in all instances, it is do what you got to do to get that thing to brace the best you can.
Agreed. I would say the hand placement, if I'm thinking about goats and sheep, obviously we're up in the head or neck region. I just don't want it blocking that neck and making the neck look shorter. Just make sure it's not in the way in terms of that visual is where I'm at with it. And I can't say that very seldom do I see it in the way. Sometimes this past weekend I had it happen where in the lamb show and even in the goat show, we had one or two individuals that would completely cover up almost from the entire shoulder, from the forerib up, with their leg on the show side. And it just makes it a little difficult to evaluate that front end when we're covering up that much. Maybe we had a problem with that shoulder you did not want me to see, and I get it. But I'm going to probably assume the worst if you're covering it up.
And this is why when I tell the little sheep and goat people to back off their heads and just hold them, they all get angry, because I just want to see what it looks like. And they all get so mad. But that is the point right
that
there.
Is.
See, I'm just
and
saying.
I have another thing, and we're talking about the brace here. Maybe I'm the crazy one, but I don't see it as much in the goat ring, but I do on occasion. I'll come up to handle a goat, and that young person or that exhibitor appears to be getting into that goat and driving and bracing, but I get my hands on them and they really aren't. There's no pushing from the person to the goat, or there's no flexing of the goat's muscle, to simplify it, if that makes sense. And I go to handle them and we're just soft. It's just like handling your bicep with it totally relaxed or flexing your muscle. Guess what I would prefer my goats handled like, Ryan?
Yeah, you want the muscle to flex. I get it.
Yeah. We want to flex the muscle just a little bit. Okay, so that's where, and I didn't see it a lot in the goat ring, but for some reason I see it more and more in the lamb ring, that it looks like those lambs are bracing, but they just aren't. I go up to them and I mean, they could change that handle significantly by getting into that sheep just a little bit more. Maybe I'm being too critical. Maybe I'm the odd one out, and that's the popular thing right now. But if I'm handling your lamb, I think you probably ought to get it to drive just a little.
I've said this the last 2 or 3 sheep and goat shows that I've judged, and like kids have come up to me afterwards. And again, I want anybody to know whether you're a kid or a parent, because normally I try to talk to every single kid in showmanship, whether they make the cut or not, tell them what I think they did well and what they didn't, and then whatever. But like, I'll say, you just didn't get this one braced effectively. And they'll come up and they'll ask me, I don't understand what you mean. I said, I know you thought you had that one braced, but when I put my hands on it, there's nothing there. And I know you're into them and pushing and whatever, but the animal's just standing there.
Yeah.
I get that. And I understand what you're saying.
But is it being coached that way? What are we missing? Why is this happening?
That I don't know. But it's not like a pandemic thing, but like it is something that is happening more often. I guess I've seen it more in 2021 than I did 2020.
Yeah.
And we're only, 5 months in.
Okay. Good question, Amy. Thank you. Next question comes to us from Robert. Guys, love the podcast. I'm a 4-H leader looking into what computer programs people use to run show entries, sales, and create programs. Do you have any suggestions? Ooh, it's a good thing this is your question, Ryan.
There are several The one that comes off the top of my head right now is Showworks. I know that's not the only one, and I don't want to think that the other show programs are thinking that I'm showing favoritivity or anything like that. The best thing that I would tell this person that's asking this question to do is the shows that you go to, ask those managers, what programs do you use? Which one do you like? And I know there's a brand new one or a recently one that just came out, and I can't even remember the damn name of it because I quit putting on shows. I mean, I haven't helped my mother put on a show in probably 5 years or more. And so I just don't have anything to do with that anymore. But there are multiple show programs out there. I would go and, whether it's your county fair or your state fair or jackpot shows, they all have a program. Some people just use an Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to be real honest with you. A lot of people I know just use an Excel spreadsheet to do it. But just go and ask them at shows, etc., get their feedback, because just like everything else, depending on your level of expertise with computers or Excel or stuff like that, you're going to have one that's more user-friendly to you and vice versa.
Good. I know that show organization program, I know a lot of them exist now, and it seems like there's more in the market all the time. I am not personally...
Yeah, there's more than ever.
I don't understand. I'm not personally familiar with them. What I would like, if possible, instead of hate mail, if some of our listeners could post in the comments section on this episode that we put up, that this episode Once Upon a Time is dropped, just share some of those programs in the comments section, and that hopefully we can get most of them posted up there. That way people know what's out there, and hopefully it'll be helpful. But Robert, very good question. I apologize that I am of very little value on that one.
I wasn't much either, but there you go.
Michael has a question. I'm an ag teacher, and my personal children show cattle, hogs, and contemplating goats since we have 25 or so does. But the question is, I have been watching Pig Royalty, which I have not watched yet, Ryan. Remember, I had that technical problem.
Shocking.
And the trailer problem. And saw the episode where Ryan judged that particular show. And Ryan said he did not like the Hamp breed at all.
That is correct.
And he acknowledged that in the Grand Drive and picked the Hamp.
It's my least favorite breed of hogs.
Overall, and kudos for Ryan for picking the best hog, even if it wasn't his favorite breed. My question is, what is Dale and Ryan's favorite breed of hogs, breeding cattle, and steers? And the least favorite? And why?
Well, Hampshires are my least favorite.
You got all that?
Yeah. Well, Hampshires are my least favorite breed of hog. And again, I'm not trying to offend the Hampshire people out there in the world, but in my experience, they have the worst feet. So that's why they're my least favorite breed of hog in general. Not saying there aren't perfectly good fitted, wonderful structured Hampshires out there. There are. So everybody calm down. Y'all gonna hear this on Friday. I'm coming to Ohio. Don't think that y'all have to have like a Hamp Lives Matters protest or something. I use Hamps. I'm just saying. My favorite breed, I know everybody thinks it's going to be Berks, but it's not. My favorite breed is Durocs. And it's just a personal story. My stepsister won Fort Worth with a Duroc that nobody in my family wanted to feed. I picked that hog out. It ended up winning. And so that's why I'm partial to Durocs. I don't even think he mentioned sheep, but I really... the only sheep that I have a preference to is the white-faced crossbred at OAE. I have a personal preference to that one. Other than that, I'm good with any of them. I'm preference to that one. Sorry about that, Craig. I had to put that in there. And cattle, I have literally shown almost every... I don't think there's a breed, probably not many, that I haven't shown or been involved in some way. I am very partial to American breeds because they are something that obviously are more centralized in the South and Texas, but I'm very partial to the American breeds of cattle. And I guess in terms of a haired breed, I would say Charolais.
Very interesting. On the hog side, Ryan, I'm kind of with you on the Hampshire thing. I'm just going to say the hogs that I like are the sound ones. I don't care what breed they are.
Yeah, you're afraid to offend somebody. I'm not.
No, I would say in general, but I think it changes over time. There's some rotation that one breed's going to be sound. I can remember when Yorkshires were super sound. I don't know that I've seen it as much recently. The breed that I have a harder time, I'm not going to say I don't like them or least favorite, but the breed that you like the most, Ryan, I am less excited about judging is the Durocs. And I think it's
Love me some Red Hawk.
yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I can't tell you why. I don't get it. And it's not that
When you find that one, it's just like a euphoria moment for me.
I get it. On the cattle side, my livelihood is.
Dale loves the Angus breed the most of any.
No, I did not say that.
Suck up all of your fellow blue blood Angus breeders, please.
I have a financial tie into that, so I'm going to sustain from it. How's that?
Mm-hmm. That's just because I called him out before he could do it, folks.
How about on the steer world? I like good-looking ones with some degree of carcass merit. How's that, Ryan?
This kind of goes for all cattle. There is really no such thing as a purebred anymore, and especially in the steers, there is no such thing as nothing.
And I think
purebred.
the Black Lives Matter is taking over the cattle business.
I'm going to offend a whole lot of cattle people out here, but like, it would be very difficult now because not every breed can sit, like, you don't have to be 100% to be a purebred, and a lot of breeds and all this other stuff and crossing and trying to take things black and all these other different things. I think it is very hard to just say anything is a pure driven in the Snow White breed.
No, if we were to go back with the
other than the Angus people, I'm sorry. Wait, they let Red Angus in there too, so that would be wrong. But
let's go back and think about the full blood. Think about your full blood mains. What color were they?
Ooh, why?
I believe we were red and white back then.
Oh, the most red and white.
Our full blood limmies?
They were red.
And then guess what? Red for how many years and how many generations? No black ones. Then all of a sudden, what happens?
They black.
Yeah, they said they did.
Well, that is because the limmies, it's Cookie's fault.
It's now,
the
be
cow
nice
Cookie's
to
fault.
Cookie.
Nobody could ever make another red one as good as hers, so they had to turn black.
I think she'd still be good today.
Oh, I'm
pretty sure. She was the best.
But
I mean, you think about our full-blood yellow and white Simmentals, they probably aren't going to get along right now walking into a jackpot show.
I'm just telling you, the first Simmental Junior National I ever attended, there was 2 black cows there, and I owned one of them. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, it's changed a little bit.
Me and Shelly Overbeck.
It has changed just a little bit over time. So once upon a time, there were yellow and white Simmentals in the Simmental show.
Mm-hmm.
Once upon a time, there were red and white mains.
Oh, there still are red and white mains. They
there
still
are a few.
They still acknowledge a full blood show like at the majors, and I think the Junior National too. I'm pretty sure.
And once upon a time, you could find a red limousine without looking very hard.
Yeah, now it's a little more tough.
It is. Ryan, that's all that I have.
Oh, well, there you go.
I enjoyed tonight's episode. I know you've got to get up and judge the State Fair of Nevada tomorrow morning.
Oh my God, my time is gonna be so screwed up because like I had to get up at 4 to leave at 6 to get to the airport to fly all the way out here to Reno. Oh, and I had to go through LAX. Oh, God bless America. And all this other stuff. So like, I think if I have this down right, when I got up at 4, it would have been 2:00 in the morning this time. So
that would be correct.
I'm about when it's going to get right is when I got to go to the Ohios of it all. And I'm telling you, people in Ohio, you listen to this now, the best pig show crowd involvement I ever judged was one in Ohio a few years ago. So you people better get your pom-poms and your fire batons and your bullhorns and all that stuff, sparklers, whatever, ready. Because I'm counting on you
This is going to be the test.
To prove this
can work. We're going to start at Ohio. What show is it?
It's in Hillsboro, Ohio, on Sunday.
Hillsboro Pig Show, Sunday. The crowd is going to clap.
Will Winter's judging Saturday. I'm judging Sunday.
And it's okay to clap when Will's judging too. We're okay with that.
Just don't clap for Will more than me, okay? Then we'll just make that real obvious.
Ryan.
Love you, Will.
Thank you very much. It's been good. Be safe.
Y'all come back now, you hear?